The well-being of women is critical to the sustenance of functional societies. This is due to the roles women play from the smallest unit of society as both homemakers, mentors, role models, and many times the spiritual pillars of families. A complex situation encompassing physical, mental, and emotional well-being, all of which cannot be overemphasized. These unwritten duties explains why the health of women folk should be priority. Unfortunately, many are so engrossed that they forget to look out for themselves. And so on this week's episode of Health Options, we shall be focusing on uterine fibroid. It is one of the most common medical conditions among women of childbearing age. Trust us to bring you something fresh and useful on our Nature's Corner. You do not want to miss it. I am Salwa Kalal Ibrahim. Thanks for tuning in. Uterine fibroids, commonly known as fibroid, are non-cancerous tumors. It can be as small as a seed or get as big as a ball of watermelon. They occur most often in people between the ages of 30 to 50, and many are unaware that they have it. What are the causes of fibroids? Are there symptoms to look out for? Can fibroid be managed? Answers to these questions and the treatment will come in the course of the program. But first, we take this quick time out.
Joy, unleash taste.
I'm now joined via Zoom by Professor Priye Fibroids, a professor of obstetrics and gynecology at the University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. He is also the President, Association for Fertility and Reproductive Health in Nigeria. Many thanks for joining us, Prof.
Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Okay, now could you give us more insight into what fibroid is really and its variant?
So uterine fibroids are growths in the uterus that come from the muscle. The uterus is made up of several layers, a covering that is called the serosa, the muscle, and then the inside of the uterus called the endometrium. So fibroids grow from the muscle cells, and each single muscle cell is believed to be the origin of a fibroid that grows. They come in different sizes and different sites, but the most important thing is that they are benign growths or benign tumors that means that they are not cancerous. And so the fear that a lot of people have about fibroids should be allayed, because luckily they can easily be dealt with, especially if you are able to make the diagnosis appropriately and timely. And depending on the desires of the individual, there are various ways of handling them.
Okay. So, Prof, why are we seeing this more among women of a younger age these days? And how does it affect reproduction too?
Okay, so fibroids have always existed, and they are found more in black women than in other races. The diagnosis is increasing in our environment because of the increased awareness and increased access to ultrasound scan, amongst other things. They could affect fertility in certain ways, and fertility could also be negatively affected by fibroids. So it works in several ways. The effect of fibroids depends on their size, on their site, and whether or not they are causing symptoms. The site could either be inside the womb, that is where the baby normally stays, called the endometrium, or in the muscle layer, those ones are known as intramural fibroids, or it will also be on the outer part of the womb, that is inside the abdominal cavity, and those ones are known as subserous fibroids.
Okay, now, for the one inside the womb, could that stop conception? And if otherwise, now, how would that be in terms of conception for women who are pregnant and have fibroids?
So opinions differ on how these things can cause an effect on pregnancy and how they can negatively affect fertility. However, their presence within where the baby is supposed to rest many times impairs implantation at the early stage when pregnancy is also occurring. So we generally would want to remove those fibroids. Luckily, those tiny ones can easily be removed through the cervix by a procedure known as hysteroscopy. So you don't really have to open up the woman to remove such fibroids. And depending on their size, they could actually be removed even when they are large, using various methods of that hysteroscopy. And it avoids the main problem of going to do major operation by cutting the woman open. So those kind of fibroids primarily can affect fertility. For those who get pregnant, fibroids tend to grow faster during pregnancy and grow much bigger, and they can cause some problems during such pregnancies, ranging from miscarriages in the early stages to premature delivery to malpositioning of the baby. That means the baby doesn't stay in the right position, to preventing the woman from carrying out a normal vaginal birth and necessitating cesarean section to deliver the woman. And they could also cause bleeding either before delivery or after delivery. Sadly, a lot of women are misinformed, even by medical practitioners, that you should avoid operation until you finish having your babies. And sometimes you detect fibroids when they are relatively small, and they continue to grow till they become very large, sometimes growing to the size of even a 9-month pregnancy, simply because some people feel that you should first of all conceive before you start dealing with fibroids. So in our climate, in our environment, we see much larger fibroids than are seen in the Western world, because intervention is carried out much earlier in the Western world. And the methods through which you can remove these fibroids are much easier and less invasive.
Many thanks, Prof. Now, we'll take a breather here. Stay with the NTA.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Give your child Bonvita. It contains essential vitamins and minerals that support mental and physical vitality. Bonvita. Prepare them to win every day.
In a world hungry for goodness, with a splash of golden terra oil, a mom can transform a frown into a smile. Make a lunch hour a happy hour. Change no thanks into yes please. Provide care when our nearest and dearest needs it most. And resolve family feuds without blowing a whistle. Providing tasty, nourishing family meals is all that matters. The world needs moms, because where there are moms, there is hope, happiness, and love. Golden Terra Oil, or pure love.
Thanks for being there. The program is Health Options on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We have been looking at fibroids, types, management and treatment with Professor Priye Fabi. Thanks for staying on the line, Prof.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now we've spoken a lot about uterine fibroids now. Are there symptoms, or how can women now get to know they have fibroids?
Majority of women are asymptomatic, meaning that they don't have any symptoms. And it's only when you get to the hospital that you are informed that you have fibroids.
Okay.
Others go for ultrasound scan for different reasons, and then they are told that, oh, on your scan, we found that you have fibroids. Beyond that, some also present with symptoms, and these symptoms most times relate to the menstrual period. Women who have very heavy menstrual flow on many occasions, that heavy menstrual flow is caused by uterine fibroids. And the term in medicine is called menorrhagia, and in such situations, you may need to remove such fibroids. Outside that, you could also have pressure symptoms. When the fibroids are large, they could compress organs within their vicinity, ranging from the bladder, which would result in increased frequency of urination, amongst other things. It could also compress the intestines, causing all sorts of complications such as constipation and challenges with your normal passage of stool. Then you could also feel a mass. And some of these women come complaining of something that is moving up and down, around and around. And it's when you examine them and do investigations that you're able to determine that they have uterine fibroids.
Okay. Now, can fibroids be avoided considering maybe lifestyle changes, or is it due to something women do or eat? Can it be avoided? Sadly,
the cause of fibroids is not known. One thing that is definitely known is that it's more common amongst black women than other races. And they are not a problem in all situations. However, they need to be monitored appropriately. So, managing them will require regular medical evaluation for the woman. And of course, evaluation of the genital tract is not just limited to fibroids. Recently, the government has been talking about screening for cervical cancer, amongst other things, and that is part of the whole exercise of evaluation. So women should have regular medical checkup, including genital tract examination. And if the gynecologist feels that something needs to be done, then you will be so informed. The treatment per se, maybe we'll talk about that later. But
no, I was coming to that, Prof.
Okay.
The best option for treatment of fibroids.
For treatment. The treatment of fibroids is to remove the uterus completely. That's hysterectomy. However, most women who have fibroids either have not had children or still desire to conceive, and you cannot remove the uterus in such situations. Therefore, we can remove the fibroids alone while preserving the function of the uterus. You could do an open abdominal myomectomy, meaning that you cut open the anterior abdominal wall and then go to the uterus, remove the fibroids, repair the uterus, and then put it back. Or you could carry out minimal access surgery, known as laparoscopy. So you put in something like a camera and some other tubes that contain instruments, and without cutting the woman open, you can operate within the abdominal cavity and remove fibroids that are existing there. Some big fibroids can also be removed through the vagina, known as vaginal myomectomy.
Okay, so now, Prof, are there other treatment other than surgical procedures for treatment of fibroids? Why do we keep seeing it reoccur or grow back?
Women who have predisposition to growing fibroids are usually advised when such surgery is done that they should try and conceive as quickly as possible, because the recurrence rate can be high, but it is not always that high. Not everyone has the same predisposition, but some people are unlucky and they grow fibroids in large numbers, and in such people they tend to also regrow them even after you may have done operations to remove them. The regrowth is not a regrowth of those that you have removed, but growth of new fibroids from other muscle cells that are still existing within the uterus. You asked a question about other methods. Yes, outside surgery, there are other ways that fibroids can be dealt with, including a procedure known as high-intensity focused ultrasound, where high-intensity ultrasound rays are used to melt those fibroids. Then you could also have ablation of the uterine arteries, meaning that you block the arteries that are supplying the fibroids, and that causes them to sort of die off and gradually melt. You could also have interventional radiology, where you pass in tubes through the vessels that now supply those fibroids to reduce the blood supply to them and eventually get them to die off. If you are bleeding heavily, there are various ways that drugs that can be given to help to control that bleeding. But it does not cure the fibroids. It simply manages the symptoms while buying time to either carry out surgery or carry out any other intervention. There are also drugs that can be given to shrink the fibroids in preparation for surgery. And these drugs are usually in the form of injections, but they have a limitation. You can't give them for more than 6 months because of the side effects that they have. And when you stop those drugs, the fibroids tend to grow back and may even grow bigger than what they were before. So we most times give them when we are preparing to operate or do something significant with regards to the fibroids. They could also be useful in women who are close to menopause, because it's been shown that it is the hormones that are secreted by the ovaries, basically estrogen and progesterone, that help the growth of the fibroids. But when you are close to menopause, the ovaries gradually cease to function, and then estrogen and progesterone are no longer secreted. And those kind of drugs can be given to tide you over, pending when you now get to menopause. And thereafter, you don't need to do any other thing after that.
Okay, many thanks, Professor, there for that information.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
We've been speaking with Professor Priye Fibroids, a professor of obstetrics and gynecology, University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital. Many thanks for watching. Malaria is a major public health concern caused by the bite from Anopheles mosquitoes. If you are allergic to insecticide, which by the way comes in different brands, here is an opportunity for you to learn about the natural ways or home remedies you could use for the repellent of mosquitoes and rodents on our Nature's Corner with one of our regulars, Professor Ben Amodu, a professor of phytomedicine, after this time out.
Imagine lovely meals you can cook with these ingredients. You spend heavily, but no guarantee of a tasty meal. Not making a right choice of seasoning cube can ruin your meal, money, and confidence. For a tasty meal, do not compromise. Choose Gold.
Use Terra Gold for the rich, consistent taste your loved ones crave for. Good for soups, stews, and jollof. Terra Gold. One cube, endless possibilities.
Malaria is highly endemic in Nigeria. We want to today look at how we can get local mosquito repellents within the home setting. And a number of them are here displayed. And we will now be explaining to you the various ways this can be gotten by yourself in that home setting. Here, we have the red onion, the popular red onion, which we are likely to use the back, the peels. We peel them and then aggregate them together, put them in a boiling water. We can cover them for a few hours and then filter it, discharge it in a container that has a spraying adapter. And you spray it all around your area. As soon as the mosquitoes smell it, they will run away, very, very far away. Then we have lavender oil, mixing it and dropping it with vanilla oil, 4 drops, and then 1 teaspoon of lime. Mix it, add hot water, discharge it into a container that has a spraying cork. It will do the function of drive. In fact, when they smell it, they will never come near. They talk of even biting. You repel them away. Then we have neem oil. Neem oil has the same effect, the same way that onion oil does. So these are the various types of onion oils that do this work. I have mentioned to you neem oil. I have mentioned to you onion oil. It is mixed with boiling water, and then you filter it and put it in a bottle that has a spraying cork. And once you do that, the mosquitoes react instantly and they will disappear from the area you don't want them. And in similar fashion, even when you combine the white onion and the red onion, you can see white onion here, red onion, you remove the back in similar way you do with the red onion. You have a solution. After 3 hours of mixing it in hot water, allowing it to cool down, then you dispense it in a bottle with a spraying cover. It gives you the same effect. These are very, very simple procedures. And others are lemongrass, which everybody knows. You either plant it and bring it very close to the entrance to your house. As they grow there in their own container, the smell alone keeps the mosquito off. And when they don't come near, they don't enter your house and they don't bite you to give you malaria. You can also dry it halfway. When you dry it halfway, you can put it in a container, light your light, put light on it. As it's burning, the smoke also drives mosquito. In similar way, scent leaf can be dried halfway. The smell you get out of it does the same thing. Mint leaf has some very powerful kind of odor that mosquito cannot stand. Even some people plant them within the house. And once you do that, within that vicinity, you don't find the mosquito. A practical one of it, it drives both rats, mosquitoes, and cockroaches. You can cut cucumber and put baking soda on its top and scatter it all over in your place. mosquitoes will run away, cockroaches will run away, rats will just disappear as if they are migrated. You can be doing that on a 3-monthly basis. You get these rodents that can be dangerous at times, eating your useful things in the house.
You can share your experiences with us on www.nta.gov.ng, where you can also view these and previous episodes of Health Options. This is it on this week's episode of the program. Many thanks for your company. I am Salwa Khalil Ibrahim.